do we describe what a hydrocarbon is? So, a hydrocarbon is any compound that contains carbon and hydrogens only. So, when we're only looking at compounds that consist of these two elements, we're looking at a true hydrocarbon. So, let's say if I make methane with one carbon, we have four hydrogens attached to it. There we go. That's a hydrocarbon right there. यहाँ पर जो थोड़ी सी confusion आती है वो ये आती है कि like what's the biggest difference between a saturated hydrocarbon and an unsaturated hydrocarbon. So let's write that down. The difference between a saturated versus unsaturated hydro. I promise my handwriting is not that ugly. There we go. Now, for example, we have our example right in front of us, methane. अब अगर मैं चाहूँ भी तो मैं इसके अंदर एक एक्स्ट्रा हाइड्रोजन नहीं अटैच कर सकती क्योंकि इसके अंदर जगह ही नहीं है इतनी. कार्बन की वैलेंसी पूरी है यहाँ पे. कार्बन इज मेकिंग फोर बॉन्ड्स, ऑल ऑफ देम आर सिंगल बॉन्ड्स. और ज़्यादा हाइड्रोजन यहाँ पे अटैच करने की जगह नहीं है, राइट? सो दिस हाइड्रोकार्बन इज सैचुरेटेड इन दैट सेंस. ये सैचुरेटेड इसलिए एक तो ये कि ऑल बॉन्ड्स आर सिंगल बॉन्ड्स. सेकंड, I can't add in more hydrogen. There's no more room for it. Right? But the story changes when we go from a single bond to a double bond, for example. So let's say I remove these two and I add in. There we go. एक हाइड्रोजन यहाँ, दूसरा यहाँ है. Now, if I break this double bond right here, I can add hydrogens, one hydrogen on each carbon. Let's do that and see if I'll be able to do that. ये लीजिए, I just broke that double bond और एक हाइड्रोजन इस कार्बन पे अटैच हो गया, दूसरा यहाँ पे. इसका मतलब था जगह थी वहाँ पे. Like they had space for more hydrogen atoms to come in. So this example was an example of an unsaturated hydrocarbon. Unsaturated hydrocarbons contain double or even triple bonds, and they always have room to add in more hydrogen atoms. Okay, so that's the biggest difference. अच्छा, इससे रिलेटेड हमारे पास एक टेस्ट आता दैट इज ब्रोमीन टेस्ट. बहुत हेविली टेस्ट होता है एग्जाम्स में, सो इट्स अ गुड आइडिया टू हैव योर कॉन्सेप्ट इन प्लेस. And that is the bromine test for unsaturation, for example. Then let's say कि हमारे पास दो samples हैं and both of them contain hydrocarbons, but I'm going in blind. Like I have no idea कि कौन सा sample जो है वो unsaturated hydrocarbon है या कौन सा sample is the saturated one. So we have a test for it called the bromine test. And what you do is you just add in your bromine water to your sample, right? Give it a little mix. अगर तो आपका सैंपल सैचुरेटेड है ना, तो आपका जो ब्रोमीन वाटर है इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू चेंज कलर्स. It's orange brown, it's going to stay that color. But for example, if your sample contains an unsaturated hydrocarbon and if you give that a little mix, 1 second, there we go, and that color will turn from orange to colorless, as we can see, right? So this is the biggest thing. अगर आपका जो sample height contains saturated hydrocarbons, the color is not going to change, as we can see that. You added bromine water का जो color था वो उसके अंदर ही रहा. They did not diffuse and it did not go colorless. यहाँ पे the story changed. Why? Because we probably had a compound that had a double bond somewhere or even a triple bond. Right? So that's pretty easy. Now moving on. Let's look at different families and draw the structures together. Let's see. अच्छा जी. We have जैसे उर्दू में काउंटिंग होती है ना, उस तरह केमिस्ट्री में भी होती है. मैथ 1, एफ 2, prop 3, put 4, pen 5, so on and so forth. And these prefixes determine what we're looking at. अब वो carbon chain आपकी कितनी लंबी है. Like for example, let's talk about alkanes. Alkanes are hydrocarbons जहाँ पे carbon to carbon हमारे पास सारे single bonds हैं. So meth meaning one carbon. So we're probably dealing with this and then all hydrogens. एक मैं ऐड कर देती हूँ बाकी मैं won't bother. Hydrogen, hydrogen. ठीक है. The word eth means two. So two carbons. Carbon to carbon single bonds because we're dealing with alkanes. Remember, all alkanes have single bonds, carbon to carbon. And then we have hydrogens attached. Again, children, make sure that when you're drawing your structures, valency पूरी होनी चाहिए. Carbon can only make 4 bonds, not more than that, not less than that. So prop is 3. 1, 2, 3 carbons. You're just going to add in hydrogens. I'll let you guys do the butane. Alkenes, hydrocarbons that have a double bond somewhere. Now, uh, meth or methane only contains one carbon. So we don't have anything that's called methane. There we go. एक ही carbon है. We do have ethene though. Carbon to carbon double bond. And then you just add in hydrogens. Remember, we're dealing with hydrocarbons at the moment. Okay? Hydrocarbons are compounds that only contain carbon and hydrogen. So you can't introduce any other element in here. Propene. Again, carbon to carbon, kahin na kahin double bond hoga ek. So I'll add that between carbon 1 and carbon 2, for example. You know, double bond, that double bond went out of place. One here, 4 carbons, 4 bonds, 1, 2, 3. Figure it. Again, I'll let you guys draw butane. Alcohols. Alcohols का जो functional group होता है that is OH. इसका मतलब है कि जो आपका carbon chain है, carbon पे कहीं ना कहीं hydrogens तो हैं ही attached, obviously, but we have an OH attached as well. So this is the O group or the alcohol group. Let me do this in a different color. Let's pick a pretty color. There we go. So we have methanol, carbon, hydrogens, 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 but I'll add an OH somewhere. OH, methanol. We have ethanol as well. Carbon to carbon, hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. Another hydrogen, OH somewhere. There we go. Same goes for propanol, butanol. I'll let you guys draw that one. Carboxylic acid. The functional group here is the carboxyl group. Carboxyl group की शक्ल कुछ इस तरह की होती है. बड़ा फैंसी किस्म का ग्रुप है carboxyl group. The carboxyl group. So let's draw that out. अच्छा जी. अब जो meth है, meth means one carbon. So we only have one carbon. इसका मतलब ये जो carboxyl group है वो उसी carbon पे attached होगा. There we go. Double bond O. OH. और यहाँ पे एक हाइड्रोजन की जगह बचती. That's methanoic acid. Right. Eth meaning two. तो इसका मतलब है ये जो carboxyl group है ये आप किसी भी कार्बन पे अटैच कर सकते हो. So let's say carbon, carbon, double bond O, OH, और बाकी आप हर जगह पे हाइड्रोजन अटैच कर देंगे. That's ethanoic acid. This is methanoic acid. Methanoic acid. This is ethanoic acid. Let's draw propanoic acid. जगह थोड़ी है propanoic acid के लिए, so let's draw that outside. Now we are making propanoic acid, prop meaning 3 carbons. So let's do that first. सबसे पहले कार्बन चेन बना लिया करें, उसके बाद बाकी के स्ट्रक्चर की फिक्र किया करें. So let's add our carboxyl group, OH, और बाकी हर जगह पे we're just going to add hydrogens. Hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. There we go. That's a nice looking propanoic acid. Butanoic acid आप लोग खुद बना लें. अच्छी बात है, साथ साथ प्रैक्टिस करेंगे अगर तो. अच्छा जी. What do we mean by homologous series families that have the same functional group? Functional group से क्या मुराद है मेरी? ये हमारा एक functional group है. ठीक है, ये हमारा एक functional group है. So members of the family have the same functional group. इसका मतलब है अगर मैं अल्केन की बात करूं तो अल्केन के जितने members हैं उन सब में we are seeing a pattern, right? कि जितने भी alkanes हैं मेरे पास, all of them have carbon to carbon single bonds, butane, pentane, so on and so forth. Alkene में जितने भी members हैं, all of them will contain a double bond. Alcohols, again, methanol, ethanol. The thing that I'm noticing here is that both of these have the OH functional group. Carboxylic acid, एक और homologous series, एक और homologous family की example है. And again, we can see that it's following a pattern. All members of your carboxylic acid family, they contain this functional group. ठीक. So homologous series में जितने भी members हैं आपके, उन सब में जो